What is up, everybody? Hope that you guys are having a beautiful day, because I know that I am. And I know that you guys have seen my channel introduction video, where in the background you can see the animation of the cosmic chemistry lab, if you will. And I thought it'd be a pretty cool idea just to make a short video showing you guys how I made the hovering steps that are leading up to the platform. So here we are. We're in Blender right now. This is the software that I use to create the animation. And when you first start it up, you open it up with this blank project here. You start off with a camera, a light source, and of course the default cube. Now we don't need to see the camera just yet, so we're going to go ahead and select that. And you can either go up to here, the little eyeball, or on the keys, you can hit the H key and that'll hide it. And we're just going to work with this cube for right now. So first thing we're going to do is it's a little tall, so we're going to scale it on the Z axis, which is up and down, right? So we're going to hit S and then Z, and then just scale that down about right there. Maybe still a little bit too tall, so S and then Z, about right there. Okay. Now we're going to go ahead and scale it on the X axis, which is the red line here. So very similar to the Z scaling, we're going to hit S and then X, and then scale it right up, about right there. Right now we are in object mode. You can see it right up here. You can either select up here, or you can just hit tab, and now you can see we are in edit mode. What we're going to do now is add what are called loop cuts. So we're just going to hit Control R, and you'll see this yellow highlighted line indicating that we have one loop cut that we're going to put down here. If you scroll on the mouse key, or the scroll wheel on the mouse key, you can add more or less loop cuts here. So we're just going to add 2 for right now. Then we're going to scale that on the X axis, about right there. Then add 2 more with Control R. Scale those on the X axis as well to right about there. Next, what we can do is we're going to add some more loop cuts all along the side here. So once again, Control R, scroll up on the mouse wheel, and we'll add 4 loop cuts on there. And right now, let's see, we are in edge select mode, and you can switch modes up here. This would be a vertice select mode, edge select, but we want face select mode for right now. And if you hold down the Alt key and click, you can actually select a loop of faces. So now we're also going to hold down Shift and Alt and select this loop of faces. Then we're going to press 7 on the number key and see the top view. What we're going to do is we're going to extrude these. So we're going to hit E, and then right click to cancel, and then scale, Shift Z, and just scale those out. So you can see it's not evenly around, so we'll just fix that real quick. We'll go into the wireframe mode, go back into vertices select mode, and I press A twice to deselect everything. We hit B on the number key, or on the keypad, box select these vertices, hit B again, select these ones. Then we're going to scale them on the S axis, so S and then Y, and then we're just kind of even that out a little bit, kind of like that. So we're going to go back in the top view. Let's see, hit the wireframe mode again. Press A twice to deselect everything. Box select with B key. And what we'll do is we'll select these side vertices, and we're just going to sweep them back a little bit. So we'll hit G, then Y, and move them on the Y axis, just like that. And next we're going to add 2 more loop cuts here on the side here. So Control R, scroll wheel up 2, and put those right there. Next, we'll go to face select mode, and we'll select these faces. So 1, 2, 3, as well as on the bottom. So I'm holding shift while I click them so that I can select multiple faces. So next we are going to inset these faces by pressing I twice. So there's 1 and then 2. Just like that. And as you can see, we've inserted on the top and the bottom. So we're going to go ahead and extrude these faces. We want these going up and these going up into the body of the object. So just hold, we'll click E to extrude, right click to cancel, G, and then Z. Just bring them up a little bit. And as you can see, these have been extruded up and these have been extruded into the body of the object. Next, we'll go ahead and select these faces, holding shift and clicking. We're going to go ahead and inset these faces as well, so click I twice. About right there. And then we will extrude this up by pressing E, right click to cancel, G, and then Z to move it up. Right about there. So we're going to try to get this about the same height as these ones over here. So we'll just push 1 on the number key, go to wireframe mode, vertices select, B for the box select, select all of the top vertices, then we'll scale them. So press S, Z, and then 0 to make them all the same. Right about there. Next thing we can do is we will go back to face select mode and then select these ones on both sides. Then hit I, inset that in, and then we will extrude them. Hit E, right click to cancel the movement, G, Z, and then just kind of bring them up. We'll make them not quite as tall as the these little steps on the side here. So this is what we got so far. Now you might notice that these edges are a little bit sharp. In real life you wouldn't see edges quite this sharp like this. So we're going to try to make it a little more realistic and kind of smooth out these corners here and these edges. So the first thing that we'll do is we can go to this little tab right here, click on the little wrench for our modifiers, add a modifier, and then we're going to just add a bevel modifier. And you can see what it's doing. It's adding a bevel to all the edges here. A little too big, so we'll kind of turn up the segments on that. And now it's not doing exactly what we want. So you can see that this corner here is a little bit too wide, and the reason for that is because we did not apply the scale. So when we extruded and stretched everything, we kind of changed the scaling on this model here. So what we can do is hit Control A, and then we will apply the scale on that. And now you can see that it has fixed those corners. And let's drop this down to 0.05 maybe. Shade smooth. And you can see that this is looking a lot more realistic now. Let's switch this to angle. All right, so there we go. So the modeling is pretty much done. What we can do now is switch over to the different kinds of materials that we're going to put on this thing. So what you can do is go over to any of the corners really, but I'll just go up to the top left corner here. Click, hold, and drag. Come over to this little drop down right here, click on it, and we're going to go down to the shader editor. Press N to get rid of this little tab here. And what we can do is click New. Now we're going to have a couple of materials on this step here. So what we can do is go down here on the right hand here on these tabs here. Click on the material tab here. And you can see the material that we just created. We'll just go ahead and double click on that, rename it to metal. Then we're going to add 2 more. Hit New. Hit New. We'll label this light 1 maybe. Double click this one, call this one light 2. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. So for the, let's see, if we click, let me move this over just a little bit. Click tab. We already have these little bars here selected, but we want the rest of it. So what we can do is go back. We're on face mode right now. So if you hit Shift and Alt, then we can select that loop around it as well as these right here. Shift, Alt, select that loop. We're going to assign these faces to the first light. So select light, hit assign. And then on the bottom, we'll go ahead and select these insetted faces. And then we will select light 2 and assign it to this one. So now what we can do is click and select light 1. Right now, when you create a material, if it starts off with a default principal BSDF shader, we're going to go ahead and just hit X to delete that, Shift A for the shader, select any emission shader, plug that into the surface, and then do the same thing for the light 2. Go ahead and select the principal BSDF, hit X, Shift A, emission, and plug that in. And basically what's that doing is it's making these light up like a light. So these bars here and also these faces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and select the viewport shading mode. And actually, so in the world view, I've already got an HDR to light up the background. So when I hit the render view mode, you can see that this is already kind of lit up here, as well as the bottom. And we can go and change the color of that light. So the top one, make it kind of like an orange color. And the bottom, kind of a blue color. All right, so let's go ahead and start on the metal material. So go ahead and select metal. And we have our principal BSDF right here. Now in the original video for the material, I used image textures that I got from the website Polygon. And they're really great, I really love them. But they are a paid subscription service, so you will have to pay a monthly subscription if you want to download their image textures. But they do have textures, they have HDRs, and they even have models, so I do recommend them. They're a great source. But today, instead of using the texture images, we're just going to do this procedurally. So the first thing that we can do is go to metallic, because this is a metal. Go to metallic, go from 0, change it to 1, and you'll automatically see a difference. We're going to go ahead and change this base color, make it just a little bit darker, somewhere around there. We might change it, but we'll put it there for right now. the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to just change the roughness, but rather than changing this roughness slider, we're going to start adding some nodes here. So let me just kind of give myself some room here. First thing we can do is get what is called a color ramp. So Shift A, under converter, color ramp, put that right there. And we don't want like an even, I guess, even in roughness across all this, because, you know, in real life, usually a surface isn't evenly rough, you know, because things have touched it or stepped on it or whatever. So what we're going to do is we're going to add some different kinds of textures here to kind of change where all the roughness is. So we'll just hit Shift A under texture, and we're going to go ahead and use a moose grave. Stick that right there. And while we're at it, we're going to go ahead and add in a vector mapping and a texture coordinate. Go ahead and put in the object to the top here. Then vector to vector, then height to factor, and then the color will go into the roughness. And you can already see something really weird is happening. So let's go ahead and change a few things here. We'll leave the scale at 5, but we'll change the detail to 16. Change the dimension to 0. And there you go. We're kind of getting a little bit closer to what we're wanting. You can play around with this color ramp here. Actually, so let's stick this black color. If you just select it right here, bring that up just a little bit. There we go. And that's a little bit closer to what we were wanting. And like I said, you can play around with this. You can crush those in, or you can make this a little bit darker and make it really glossy. Make it very reflective. But we'll kind of bring that up for right now. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to add some scratches to the surface here. So the first thing we'll get is Shift A, vector, and then a bump node. Get another color ramp. So converter, color ramp, drop that in there. And this time, instead of the musgrave, we'll go ahead and add in a texture, noise texture. Stick that over there. And I'll show you what this is doing. So we'll go ahead and plug in the normal to the normal, the color into the height, and then the factor into the factor. Now you can already see some interesting stuff going on here. Make some changes here. So we'll change the, we'll leave the scale on 5. Make the detail, I guess a 3. Okay, I guess we'll leave it there for right now. Keep on going. Do Shift A, texture, and let's get a Voronoi. All right, why not? Change this to Minkowski. Go ahead and plug in the distance to the vector. You can kind of see where we're going at with this. Go ahead and leave these here for right now. And then what we can go ahead and do is add in another texture Voronoi and another texture coordinate. So put the object into the vector. And we're going to go ahead and mix these. So we'll get a color, mix RGB, and just kind of stick that over there. It didn't have the color go into the vector. All right, so now you can kind of see what we can do is use this color ramp to affect how much of this we are seeing. So let's go ahead and drop that in here. There we go. You don't want too much. A little bit goes a long way. Kind of like that. Another thing is that you're seeing that these scratches, they don't really look like scratches or gouges. They're actually kind of sticking out. So we'll go ahead and invert this. Make them punch in. And this is way too much. We'll put this down to 1.25, somewhere around there. Probably drop that. Let's see. We can also bring this up a little bit. All right, so another thing that you might notice in the video, there's a lot more glowing kind of going on around here. So let me bring this over here a little bit. What we can do, so we are using Eevee as our render engine. So we're going to go down here and start adding a few things. Go ahead and turn on the ambient occlusion. Turn on the bloom, and you can kind of see a little bit of glow there. Screen space reflections. And now, so when we go to our color, select our lights, go ahead and crank these up, maybe about 25. There you go. Same thing on the bottom. All right. So now we only have one step here. We want, obviously we're going to want more than one because it is a stair, right? So what we can do is, sure, we could, copy this, Shift-E them and make a whole bunch of them, or the easier way to do it, go back to our modifier and add the array modifier. Now, this is obviously going the wrong direction, so what we can do is right around here. We wanted to go on, right now it's currently going on the X axis, you can see it right here. We wanted to go on the Y, so just kind of change that to a 0. And then on the Y axis, make that a 1. But we also want them to be slowly climbing their way up. So what we can do is click on constant offset. You see it's going the wrong direction again. So we wanted to go on the Y, or not on the Y, but actually the Z. So on the X axis, press 0. On the Z, let's try 1. And there you go. Maybe we can space this out a little bit more. So 1.25 maybe. Nope. 1.25. There we go. And then up here we have our count. We have 2 so far. Let's make that 7. And then there you go. You got your sci-fi hovering staircase or steps. Super easy. I hope that you guys enjoyed that little tutorial. And I know this is kind of a change from my normal video game gameplay videos, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to do some of this stuff because I really enjoy 3D modeling and animating. If you guys want to use this in one of your all's projects, go ahead and share it in the comments below. I'd love to see your all's projects and how you guys are using this. And if you guys enjoyed this, if you guys like this and would like to see more videos like this, just let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to incorporate more videos like this in the future. All right. I cannot wait to see you guys in the next one. This is going to be it for today. So, see ya.